This is a bit outside of your field, perhaps, but I know you said you're not an overly smart guy, but come on, you're a bit smart, and you must be G'd up about the potential that we have to be great, right, as human beings, as like how far we're getting with research at the moment to reduce suffering, to employ human ingenuity, to get ourselves out of global challenges. But I sort of feel like we're just on this precipice of understanding of like the singularity of the virtual reality revolution and things like STEM. And yet, just as we're about to figure all these things out, is just at the same moment we're about to run out of oil and civilization collapses or climate change renders the entire planet uninhabitable. Like, firstly, that's a weird moment to be just at this peak where everything's going to get fucking amazing. And at the same time, everything's going to collapse. Like, am I completely off base with that? Do you feel like is that where we're at? Or am I being really doomsday?
Peace. That's what I think all the time. I go from one to the other, right? I swing between the two of like hope and like, we're at this amazing like utopia to the, oh no, it's going to be dystopia. I literally one extreme to the other.
How bad?
And then obviously this year with what's happened in Ukraine, you think, yeah, what's going to happen? And yeah, we're just going to destroy ourselves, probably. Hopefully not.
This is interesting because there's a guy, I forget his surname now, Daniel Whitson, I think. Daniel Whitson was on a few weeks ago. He's a physicist. And I asked him a very similar question. And I said, so like, do you have hope that we're going to, make it through this period? And then, because we were talking about time travel and we were talking about light speed travel and all this stuff. And I said, so do you think we're going to make it through like the next 50, 100 years to actually see this stuff come to fruition? He's like, nah. I was like, fucking great. So what are we even excited about here? Like, we'll figure out light speed travel and then actually never be able to use it.
I think for me, the climate crisis is the scariest thing. The fact that it's like completely, people just carry on like normal without thinking about it. And this is like not 1,000 years from now, it's 50 years from now. There could be a mass extinction due to methane escaping from the surface of the kind of Siberia, for example. There's all these kind of things that I read about which I shouldn't read about, and I go, actually, is that going to happen? Then you read about 10 more articles. It's like 10 different people saying 10 different things. You're like, just ignore it. Go back to normal. Focus on today. So I do go through one extreme to the other.
But it's kind of like if you do read too deeply into it, you'll drive yourself fucking nutty.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's good to be aware. But at the same time, it's like, is it good to be aware or should you just be blissfully ignorant? Because actually what you're doing is making your time here now more miserable.
This is what I talk about every day. And that's what I've been saying this a lot lately. It's like, it's not good to be blissfully ignorant, but it's also not good to ruin whatever time we do have. You don't know how. And also, we could go out tomorrow and get hit by a bus. The climate crisis could be irrelevant. So this is what I'm telling myself now. Actually, try and live in now. Try and work on amazing studies. Kind of present science to kids, get them inspired. To hopefully be the kids, the people that fix all these problems. Maybe, who knows?
Yeah.
I thought that's the only thing I can do now is just try and do the best I can with whatever time there is.
Yeah, I mean that's the key thing is. Like, it's good to be aware, like we said, but I think it's good to be also aware of your limitations as a human being in terms of like how much you can personally do to fix this or escape this.
Yeah.
And that's a huge thing. That's like, well, if I read 15 blogs about the climate crisis and see how bad everything's going to get, well, fucking great, but you're going to turn yourself into a nervous wreck and you won't be able to do, like, your margin for change to actually escape anything. Like, what are you going to do? Fly off to some corner of New Zealand? And it's like, even then it's like not guaranteed that you're like, the climate will change. There'll be no rain there. Like so it's kind of like you have to admit, unfortunately, that you are not the master of your own destiny, and whatever happens is kind of going to happen.
There's also a lot of especially there's a lot of climate activists and climate communicators who are saying actually the kind of doom and gloom is not helping anybody, and we can actually deal with this if we all start focusing on the positives. There's some really amazing communicators on TikTok actually who share kind of all the good things that are happening with climate change and climate solutions.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to follow more of them and trying to watch their videos and go, okay, there is stuff happening and it is good. And that's what we can do, isn't it?
Yeah, like there's some hope there buried deep in the depths of my mind. But like I wrote a blog on this a few weeks ago, Paul, and I looked at different energy sources. It was off the back of like in the first few weeks of Ukraine, and I thought like, why is nobody talking about this like for what it is? It's an oil or gas war, because Ukraine is rich with, it's just a fucking sweetie shop of like natural resources, and should they pull out all of the natural gas from Ukraine and sell it to the EU, Russia are kind of fucked, because that's where Russia sell all of their natural gas. So why is nobody talking about this? And like the conclusion that I came to was like, because if they start talking about this and actually shining a light on it for what it is, instead of talking about like Vladimir's gone mad or like, you know, it's neo-Nazis taking over, if they actually were honest about it and said, this is all about gas, and there's only a finite amount of it left, and when it does run out, everything's fucked. Your neighbours are going to break into your house and bludgeon you to death for the contents of your larder. Like, if they were that honest about it, people would lose their fucking minds.
Yeah.
And so anyway, I started looking at these different energy sources and all the usual suspects like nuclear and oil and wind and solar, and literally every single one of them, one by one, I was like, that's not going to work, because solar panels, are you going to cover the whole world in solar panels? Which countries are going to go without solar panels that can't afford the oil that generates solar panels? And the same with wind, and the same with like nuclear comes from uranium, but there's only enough uranium to power the world at current levels for the next like 50 years. So if power goes up and up, like, and if we power the entire world with uranium, that's going to go down to about a tenth of, so it would last like 12 years or so. So basically I went through all of this shit and I was like, yeah, we're really, really fucked.
Can I just say I was really ignorant to all that, and now I feel really stressed.
Well, yeah, I like to spread my joy unto the world.